I kept thinking that whenever Mary would call me and say she was in a park and he would start running around and hitting other children, I always thought, you know, somebody will call the police, somebody will say that she has no control over her child.
There were times I had to convince social workers not to call Division of Youth and Family Services. It's a horrifying thing when you realize the only program that he it will be accepted in, the autism program, requires you to sign an agreement that you are allowing them to physically restrain him and go through certain protocols that could really injure him.
I always thought the only way to deal with this would be to medicate him, and never wanting that because of what it does to people.
And it was 2 weeks after he first gave the remedy that we saw these beginning improvements. It was actually very dramatic overnight lifting of whatever, you know, was causing him to be so distressed. This was the period where every morning he woke up screaming for at least 40 minutes and then had to be walked through his routine with his visual schedule. He woke up the next morning. He said, "Hi, Mom." He was smiling. He didn't scream. He hadn't wet the bed, and he had been wetting the bed every day. To me, it was just incredible. And I remember thinking when Pierre, on that first visit with Pierre, he said to me, you know, it's probably going to be about 2 years before you see recovery. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm not looking for recovery. You know, this is not, you know, he's already 9 years old. You know, we're dealing with such a major regression that if he just wakes up and is not screaming and having daily fits, I'll be happy.
Once the remedy took effect, it was, you know, here's Louis, the real boy, you know, and little by little, conversations that weren't just superficial. We were having real conversations. Now it's less nerve-wracking, you know, and that would be a good way to describe it. You never knew what to expect. Now things are pretty much on an even keel, which makes going places better, which makes you know, doing things together better, which makes us able to sit in a restaurant and not worry about somebody, you know, calling the police. Yeah.
Last summer, I enrolled him in a regular day camp, summer day camp, and I went in and I said to the director, listen, here's the deal. He was diagnosed with autism. These are the problems that he used to have. We haven't seen this in a while. And she said, well, let me see him. So I had him come in and meet with her, and she said, I think he'll do fine here. Just 2 years ago, he was still in physical therapy because his upper body strength was so poor. And on top of that, there was the whole question of that he couldn't really follow a game or have the attention span to participate really in a game that was competitive.
So you gotta be the best. You gotta be a great athlete. Well, I wanna be an NBA player when I grow up. Like, wanna be drafted in the NBA draft.
I don't think there's any question that he's going to go on to college, that he will someday be working a job. All the things that I had accepted would not be happening I was expecting that probably he would never be married, he would never have kids, and that's probably a good possibility now. He seems to get along really well with a lot of girls. It's been such a lifesaver to myself, to our family, to Louis, that I really want to be able to share that. So I want to become a homeopath myself.